Hi there and welcome once again to Get Indie Gaming and to the first in a new series where I show off some of the best looking indie games, those on what I call my wishlist most wanted, that are mostly expected to launch over the rest of the year. Let us know down below which of these or any others are on your most wanted list, and I'll look to include some of these in follow-up episodes. Let's get things going with Dead Static Drive, a game I played back at Gamescom in August of last year and loved every second of it. If you've been following this one, well, it's been in development since the tail end of 2014, and after a few years of relative radio silence, we've recently seen a new teaser trailer which shows a little more of the type of action and imagery we can expect when this supposedly launches later this year on the PC and Xbox. For years it's had the tagline and described as being like Grand Theft Cthulhu, which is pretty darn descriptive in itself and to my mind perfectly sums up the survival procedurally generated game I played last year. I suspect since then it's had many iterations and fully deserves a place in our wishlist most wanted. Next up at number 9, Buildings Have Feelings 2 is a city management game that's just a little bit different, as in this one, buildings themselves appear sentient and able to walk around the place and converse with each other. What's more, they have their own emotions, drives, wants and needs, with you tasked in helping to grow the city, by making it possible for the buildings to be able to themselves grow and adapt as the needs of the city changes around them. I'm really interested to see how the passage of time plays out in this, and how you're able to build and update areas of the city as new industries come and go. It's out later in the year on PC and all of the usual consoles. Up next, and at number 8, Across the Grooves was my top choice of all the indie games I got to play at EGX in London in October of last year. It's, as you might expect given the footage that's on screen, a visual novel centred around a lady called Alice, who one morning out of the blue receives a package from her former partner which contains a record. The demo sees Alice play the record before she leaves for the apartment to continue the rest of her day, and as the needle makes its way across its surface, she's put back with memories of the past all played out before us. Then comes the first of the twists. Once the record ends and she goes about her day, although Alice quickly finds her world has changed and altered from her normal reality, and from then on you go about piecing together the magical mystery behind Alice and the rest of her story. The EGX demo and everything I've seen from Across the Grooves since is utterly delightful, particularly all of the handcrafted drawings and dynamic score which branches along with the story and the choices you make. Across the Grooves could be something really rather special when it comes out this year on PC, and we understand the team are also working on a port to bring it to the Switch. The other side, the number 7 in this first episode of my Wishlist Most Wanted series, is, I understand, a mobile-centric puzzle game that would, there's no question, feel right at home and be a unit shifter if it ever came to the Switch. In any case, just looking at the trailer footage and some of the design stills available online, well, it's enough to make me feel all warm and cozy, and I can really see how the designers took inspiration from children's colouring books and illustrations from, things like Moomins and Where the Wild Things Are. The story revolves around a group of ghosts looking to discover who they were and why they're essentially still around. And as you play, you'll learn more on these by way of solving the puzzles and finding clues which in turn should help the ghosts in finishing their journey to the other side. At number 6, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is a very rare thing indeed, in as much as it looks like one of those battle royale games we can actually get behind and want to play. First announced in the summer of last year, this one looks to be a collection of fun but brutal mini-games inspired by those zany game shows we all see on late night and sometimes primetime TV. You know the ones, those shows that have you laughing and perhaps shouting at your screens in equal measure. Now I understand the original figure of having 100 players all going hammer and tongs to win the grand prize, well that's now been reduced to 60. The game developers have said recently they didn't need that many players to create the crowds and chaos they wanted to see within the gameplay. So all that's fine by us. In any case, this looks a fine amount of good old-fashioned stupid fun with the physics-based obstacles and traps aplenty, all designed to take you out of the game. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is coming to home PC and PlayStation 4 at some point this year, and I can't wait to tuck into this cheery-looking fun-sized bag of slapstick silliness. At number 5, Ooblets will, there's no doubt, be familiar to many viewers. Not just for having been, for various reasons I'll not dig up here, one of the most talked about indie games of the whole list, but also it's been an indie darling for quite some time now. Now I appreciate the footage here in places is well over a year old, and having taken the time to go over the developer's website and blog updates in the making of this video, it's clear the game will come with a lot more additions and other changes to what you can see on screen now. And as we record this, we believe a new trailer is on the way and fairly imminent. Pushing all that aside, here we have a farming village simulation and creature collection game that I'm really looking forward to playing. It looks, dare I say it, so very wholesome and healthy, and there's no doubt it could become one of the biggest farming creature collection games we've had for many years. When it launches, which I assume is later this year, it'll come to PC first via the Epic Game Store, and will also be on Xbox with perhaps a few other platforms to follow. Coming up at number 4, Minute of Islands is, and I use these words perhaps a little bit too liberally, an utterly beautifully looking animated game that looks every bit the children's colouring book. It's from the developer behind The Inner World and will deliver a narrative-driven adventure as you play a character called Mo, who lives in a once serene but now sadly polluted group of islands. This pollution is in the form of deadly spores which have come about following the failure of the island's protection system, a collection of antennae installed and looked after by giants who once lived alongside the human inhabitants. In Mo, you'll head out into the wilds with your special Omni tool, all looking to try and save what's left of the antennae to protect your family and the overall island's ecosystem. While this is one of the few games in this rundown I haven't played, having missed out on the chance to do so, I'm really drawn by the environmental-based puzzles, whilst also wanting to get out there and meet some of the seemingly wonderful cast of NPCs. Now I understand this went down really well at the people who played it at PAX East just gone. I'd hoped to be there but missed it due to visa issues. But that's all by the by, and Minute of Islands is expected out this year on home PC and all of the major platforms. Next up, and while we're talking wholesome and healthy, here we have Tunic, which should be out, I understand, later in 2020. Now, long-term viewers will know I have a special little soft spot for this plucky little fox, and also its publisher, Finji, who so far have nailed every game they've launched and partnered with. What's more, all of this is coming from essentially a single designer, which continually never ceases to amaze me. I last had a hands-on demo of Tunic again, back at Gamescom in the summer of last year. What struck me then is, while the fox may look as cute as anything, the combat is seriously meaty and has a real depth to it that instantly clicked well with me. I mean, sure, you can name many of the game's inspirations, as they're pretty much all clear front and centre from your Zeldas to another franchise I'll not name, although I suspect you'll know what I'm alluding to. In a recent stream from the owners of Finji on Twitch a week or so before this video aired, well, it was clear from the chat that this one game is generating a huge amount of interest, and while I have my fingers crossed it's out this year, when it comes to PCs and Xbox first, I wouldn't be too surprised if Tunic moves into 2021. At number 2, and arguably, no, there's no arguing here at all, The Last Night is by a country mile the game most likely not to launch in 2020. Although that being likely, I'm including it here in this rundown as an ever so little signal boost and perhaps show it off to a few people who might have missed it so far. Now, this was first revealed back at E3 in 2017 and had an initial launch date the following year out on PC and Xbox One. Although, as many of you will know, late in 2018 the game's director Tim Sorrett took to Twitter to announce the game had run into legal and funding issues, with the team having pulled a new trailer just before it got the green light to go. While there are rumours aplenty, there is some evidence, well actually quite a lot, to be honest, to suggest that Last Night is still in development. And I really hope so. It's one of the most beautiful looking trailers I've seen in the past couple of years. It's all clearly inspired by Blade Runner and games such as Another World and Flashback. I suspect many others, would be more than a little disappointed if this footage was all that ever came out of what must already be a huge undertaking by all of the team involved. Rest assured, as soon as I see anything concrete, well, I'll post an update here on YouTube and on Twitter via the @GetIndieGaming handle. Onwards and to the first number 1 in this new series of my wish list most wanted. The Falconeer has featured a few times on Get Indie Gaming, and each time I see it, it keeps looking better and better. There's so much going on here, and the level of detail seems pretty astounding, with it looking to offer a fresh and vibrant new take on air-to-air combat, all within an open-world third-person perspective. While on the face of things the gameplay is all true enough to classical dogfighting mechanics, it certainly promises to add many more layers on top. And while naturally enough we want to see more from all of the games on this list, having missed the PAX East show just earlier in the year, and with a few others already cancelled or looking unlikely, I suspect I'll have to wait until probably its launch day to finally get to experience this. From what I've told by others, is quite a mesmerising experience. Falconeer comes at some point this year on Xbox One and home PCs. That's all from me. Be sure to let me know what games you're most looking forward to down in the comments, and if you've liked this video, click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Either way, many thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again here soon for more indie game videos.